If you are looking for a sport activity as a form of relaxation from work, or for a child as an after-school activity, look no further. Start climbing! Climbing is a great sport because you use every muscle in your body if you do it properly. And that is exactly what I'm going to teach you in this video. How to start climbing and how to climb properly. The very first thing to do is find a climbing center in your city. For starters, being a smaller climbing center is good for you. But remember, the bigger center, the bigger room for improvement. Besides where you will be training, you also need to decide when, how often will you climb, and how long will your trainings take. If you are a stranger to exercise, one training per week is enough for you. However, if you are an active person, 2 trainings per week will be better for you if you have the time. It is best if you don't skip trainings and if you have at least one rest day between your trainings. You will of course need to get used to climbing, specifically the motion with which you pull yourself upwards and holding on to the holds. In the beginnings, your hands can hurt, but don't worry because that is a sign that you are trying. I know beginnings can be discouraging. You see shirtless men seemingly flying up the wall while you have trouble just lifting your feet off the ground. But don't feel discouraged. See them as your motivation, as your goal. And don't think that you cannot be as strong as they are. You can. It will only take a while. There are 2 ways of climbing on a climbing wall. Actually, 2 types of climbing walls. One is the small wall, used for bouldering above a mat, and the second one is the big wall, where you climb with a rope. It depends on your climbing center, if it has the small wall or the big wall. If it has both, it is the best because you can choose the type of wall which you prefer. Both are good for training something else. The small wall is very good for training technique and strength, while the big wall is awesome for training endurance. Before you start climbing, you always need to warm up and stretch, and in the end of your training, stretch properly as well. After you are warmed up, start by either traversing on the small boulder or climb light difficulty route on the big wall. Bringing a friend to climb with you is inevitable. When you're bench pressing, you need a spotter. The same goes with climbing. You need a spotter to hold your rope when you're climbing on the big wall, and when you're on the small wall, you need a spotter to prevent you from falling on your head or to simply slow down your fall. But as your friend will be your spotter, you will be his. And therefore you both need to learn how to do it properly. And take it seriously, because if you make a mistake, your friend can pay for it. But not to discourage you, if you do everything properly, nothing can go wrong. And doing everything properly not only means to know how to use the equipment, but also changing the equipment from time to time, depending on how often you use it, or if there is any visible damage. It is good to familiarize yourself with the basic climbing equipment used in indoor climbing centers. Climbing shoes are the piece of equipment you will use on both types of wall. If you think that the ones you have on your feet are one size smaller than your size of feet, then you are mistaken, and those are good for you. Climbing shoes need to be tight so that your feet won't move a bit in them. Sure, your feet will hurt, but don't worry, you will get used to it in a couple of weeks. Another very important piece of equipment is the harness. You will be climbing in it on the big wall. On the harness, you will have a carbine and a belay device, which you will use to spot your friend on the big wall. An additional piece of equipment is the magnesium and the bag for it. That is the white powder climbers use to increase the friction of their hands to the holds. The bag for magnesium you have next to you on the bouldering wall, and on the big wall you have it strapped on you so you can put some magnesium on your fingers anytime you need to. It is very useful on slippery holds, but it is not necessary for beginners. Another additional piece of equipment is the tape. It is used for covering your fingers when they are injured. So, that was it! All the information you need to start climbing. What are you waiting for? Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found this video helpful.